What's up, everybody? It is Barrett with BarrettIndependent.com. Today we're going to do a little bit of a mindset video thing here on the whiteboard. We're going to talk about first responder mindset. And this is not going to be one of those videos necessarily where you need to take notes. It's not going to be one of those videos where we whip out all the cool gear. We talk about, Bear, how should I zero my rifle? Do you like the 36 yard, the 50 yard, the 100 yard, the 200 yard? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I like what works for you. What we're going to talk about today is mindset. Mindset matters. If we go back to our basic definition of preparedness, it is stockpiling material goods against potential chaos, coupled with the mindset, heart set, skill set to employ those potential stockpiled goods that we're going to need, combined with the training to actually use this stuff. So having the things, having the mindset to deploy the things, and the training to use the things. That is our basic preparedness definition here at Barrett Independent. So we're talking about first responder mindset. Why is this important? Because in today's day and age, where we are literally talking about, and people are in some cases doing, the defunding of our police, where EMS is unable to get to actual casualties to render aid because of roadblocks, because of protesters, and people are losing their lives because of that. Because fires are being set by rioters and protesters in many cases. These things are real. It is ridiculous to think about that even 3 months ago, everything that we talk about here was theoretical, hypothetical, and it has now become actual. So we need to adjust our OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, act. We're observing it, we need to orient on it, we need to decide that we have this first responder mindset, then we need to act upon that. And so that's what we're doing today, because it's real world. Police are being defunded. EMS cannot render aid. Firefighters can't keep up. And then I have added, for me, faith here, because in my humble opinion, the Big C Christian church in many regards, in many places, is failing to live up to the headship, leadership, stewardship it is commanded to have over its people. It is not teaching the people about the Most High. It is a never-ending series of self-help, motivational, beta male speakers trying to encourage people to put money into the plate, and I'm not cool with that. So let's go down this list here just a little bit line by line. First responder mindset. What does this mean? It means that if there's a problem, my default is not to ring up somebody to deal with it. It's that I'm going to deal with it first. Then if I need backup or if I need to escalate, then I will escalate. But I am my own first responder. I'm the first responder for my wife, first responder for my kids, first responder for my neighbors, my friends, my tribe, my mutual assistance group. I am the first responder. If we need to bring it outside of my sphere of influence, we can. At least right now, we can. That may continue to change, but I am the first responder. So in light of that, we look at police. What do police do? They enforce the law. They maintain peace. They make sure that we live in an environment that is conducive to the doing of business, to the expression of our faith. They maintain normalcy, right? That's what they do. So if the police go away, who is going to enforce the law in your area? I'm the first responder, right? What does that look like? What law are you enforcing? These are things to think about. If somebody decides right now that we are going to be in a deadly force engagement, do I have the time to call the police, or do I need to be able to produce my weapon and go to work, right? The reason we carry these weapons in a concealed carry protocol is because it's very difficult to put a cop on your hip and carry him or her around with you, right? So as police are defunded, which by the way, and I hate that I even have to be on record with this, this is stupid. We should be funding and training police officers even more rather than defunding them. And if you have a department that needs training or needs IFACs, email us. We got you. Email's in the description. But we need to take personal responsibility for this. EMS. If EMS can't get to you, do you know how to render aid? Basic first aid. You know, how to stop a bleed, how to pack a wound, how to, just disinfect and cover a wound. how to set a bone. Now we're getting a little bit more complicated. Do you have medical kits? You don't need the super ultra high speed, most tacticalist kit you can buy. And a lot of those people that do have those kits don't even know how to use them. So now's the opportunity to train with these things, just like you would train with your weapon. If you have it but don't know how to use it, you are more of a liability than an asset. Same thing if you have a blowout kit but you don't know how to use it, you're more of a liability than an asset. So get trained in these things. Yes, we do have a training protocol, and yes, because of COVID, it has been incredibly difficult to enact that training protocol. Yay, government. And we will be doing videos on these kits as far as the use of the individual items that are in these kits. But as of right now, there's lots of other people that have lots of other videos on how to use the stuff that's in here. USMC Doc is, I'm a fan of his, so you might start there. But if EMS can't get to you, how do you treat a wound? How do you sustain a patient? If there's no hospital system, what are you going to do? Do you have a back stock of your medicines? Do you need medications? Start thinking about this, because if your kid breaks his or her arm and you can't go to the hospital because you can't get there, or EMS can't get to you, or the hospital is infected with COVID and they're not bringing anybody in, or if they do, you have to be quarantined for 14 days for going there, what do? Can you set that break, splint it, administer aid, and keep an eye on it? And again, this is not medical advice, but these are things that you should be thinking about. Fire. A lot of fire and EMS are co-funded and cohabitate. They are under the same roof. They are run by the same organizations. If one can't get to you, the other can. If one is defunded, so is the other. So what are you doing about fire suppression in your home? What are you doing if you live rurally to remove fire load away from your house so that if a fire starts, your house is not engulfed by it? Do you have fire extinguishers? I mean, everybody loves to talk about being a prepper with my AR-15 and my plate carrier and all the cool guy stuff, but having a fire extinguisher next to your kitchen is highly recommended. Not in your kitchen, but next to your kitchen. Fires statistically start in two places in the home: the kitchen and the garage. You don't want to be running through the kitchen that is on fire to get to your fire extinguisher. Same thing with your garage, but you should have fire extinguishers adjacent to these areas. Again, not sexy, but how your smoke detector is doing. Literally, it will save people's lives. This is coming from a guy who had a $1.3 million loss on a shop fire just a couple of years ago. Fire, for real. What is your fire plan? Have you practiced as a family how we get out of this burning building if we have to right now? Because God forbid your youngest child is on the top floor, which is engulfed in flames, and how do we get to her and get her back out again? Tough things to think about. So you ignore these mundane preparedness issues to your detriment, because statistically, the likelihood that you experience a fire is far greater than the likelihood that you ever have to defend yourself with your CCW weapon, or you ever have to put on a plate carrier and grab your AR-15 and go to work, or whatever. So fire, you are the first responder, okay? And then faith. We have a culture right now that loves to subcontract their faith to the lowest bidder. The church with the best worship band, or the best coffee shop in the lobby, or that's the closest to home, or I like the way that guy preaches the most, or whatever. You are in no way called to subcontract your faith to anybody, myself included. Your personal faith is your personal responsibility and is in between you and your Creator. You are the first responder there. Does that mean that you should not have a pastor or somebody more learned in the scriptures than you are? No, it does not. Does that mean that you should not have brothers and sisters to lift you up and to edify and encourage you and to teach you in the ways perhaps of the things that you don't understand? No, it does not. But it does mean at the end of the day, it is you and your Creator and nobody else. You are the first responder there. And that brings us to headship, leadership, and stewardship. as if it's some kind of coincidence that you were born into this time at this very moment. So you were called by your Creator to have headship over your home. You are the leader and the priest of your home. Everybody's watching you. Do a good job. Even when it's hard, do a good job. Set the tone. Raise your children up in the way that they should go, and they will not depart from it when they are older. Provide love and compassion and guidance and wisdom and discernment to your home. That's headship. Leadership is in your places of work, your places of business, your places of worship. People need, in many cases, in many ways, to be led. If there's something that you can do to bring expertise to a situation, to clarify a subject, to encourage people, to edify people, do it. Nature abhors a void, and if you don't step into that leadership role, somebody else will, and that may not be the best thing for the situation. We are called to this, to be leaders amongst men, to make stuff happen, to encourage people, to educate people, to show people how to walk out this life. And stewardship. Get this question all the time. Bear, I live on a postage stamp, a quarter acre in the suburbs. What should I do? Well, you're on a quarter of an acre. Praise the Most High. If you can't come out of her, my people, yet, get started where you are. Take stewardship over the blessings you've already been given. Your wife, your children, your husband, if you're a female that's here, your friends, your family, the land that you have, the resources that you have, your bank account, the ones and zeros, all of that. Take stewardship over that. Apply biblical lessons of headship and leadership and stewardship to all the things that you already have. Learn to be a good steward of those things, and then the Father will entrust you with more. And this hit me like a ton of bricks in North Texas when we were praying for more land and not using the land that we already had. Why in the world would the Father give us more land when we're not using what we have? Stewardship. Make good use of that. Do not be like the guy who was given a talent and buried it in the sand and only returned one talent to the master. No, take what you have, go out there into the world and use it so that you can bring back even more for the kingdom. Okay? Lastly, personal responsibility has been the recurring theme in all of this. Personal responsibility. This is our responsibility. Onboard that as an ideology into your life. My first line of defense is not to pick up the phone and call somebody. It's me. I am the first line of defense. I am the problem solver. I'm the leader. I'm the guy that's responsible for all of this. And the great news is, if everything in the world is your responsibility, that means that there's something you can do about it. So you could be overwhelmed by the fact that whoever they are oppressing you, or the system is broken or whatever. Cool. But it's your responsibility to figure out how to function within that broken system, how to get out of it. Personal responsibility. And then lastly, independence of the system. As this continues to degrade, as the police go away, as EMS becomes less effective, as fire becomes less effective, and as faith continues to be watered down, this is what I would call, in part, the system. It doesn't work. It is not working. And again, to be clear, the police need more funding, not less. All of these people need more training, not less. Right? Faith, forget about it. They've got plenty of funding. I just don't think that they're exercising good stewardship over it. But as all of that continues to degrade, as we can see that, yes, Rome is indeed on fire, what are we going to do? Do you stand inside of the system watching it burn all around you and you yourself become consumed by the immolation of the system? Or do you get outside of it? Be independent of the system. It's everything this whole channel is about. And it comes back to security. It comes back to medical. It comes back to fire preparedness and readiness. It definitely comes back to faith. Food production. The way that you conduct yourself and live your life should be in such a way that you are not dependent upon the system. And all of that is predicated on personal responsibility. And under the banner of personal responsibility, we find the mindset of first responder. I hope that this video made sense. It went a little bit longer than I intended it to. If you'd like to support the show, you can click on the baby bear up here. That takes you to Patreon. Patreon is the economic engine of the Bear Nation. Without it, we would not do these shows on YouTube. YouTube hates our guts, and we hate their guts back, and it's okay. Thanks for being here. Shalom.